Hi everyone, my name's Malia. I specialize in living color, so anything from old muddy blondes to dimensional brunettes. I love a good effortless look, but I always like to have intention behind everything that I do. So what I'm going to be teaching you guys today is a look on Miss Ellie over here. She is a level 7 with previously balayaged ends. The look that I'm going to show you is going to be a nice, sun-kissed, effortless Florida beachy blonde. I work at a salon in Jacksonville, Florida, so I thought it would be very fitting of me to show you how I create some of my beachy looks behind the chair using all things L'Oreal Professionnel. I work with L'Oreal Professionnel because it works as a full ecosystem. So for example, what we're going to be using today is Metal Detox to protect our canvas, Blond Studio 8 for controlled lift, and Dia Light to refine tones with respecting the cuticle. So what I'm going to show you on Miss Ellie is we are going to just work on this quarter panel. And my goal is to not over lighten her hair, right? She has these previous balayaged ends. We just want to refresh. We just want to redefine her dimension. We want to work with the negative space that she already has so that we can create a beautiful sun-kissed Florida beachy blonde look. First things first, we are going to use Metal Detox to protect our canvas, to neutralize any metals, and to make sure that we have a clean lift. So we are going to spray it on, and I like to brush mine through. And now we are ready to go mix up our lightener. All right, everyone, let's mix up this lightener. Once again, we are going to be using Blond Studio 8, and then we are going to be using the Maggia Cream in 20 volume. What I love about this lightener is you get so much controlled lift. I love how it's kind of a multitasker as well. I've used it to balayage. I use it obviously in a foil like we are today. It's just kind of my go-to, and it has the perfect consistency. So we're going to be using about 30 grams, and typically I mix up to about 1 to 1.5, but it also depends what I'm doing as well. I like to aim for consistency, so the consistency that I aim for is like a toothpaste consistency. Process that. And depending on how Miss Ellie lifts, we will be processing up to 50 minutes with no heat. Now that is the consistency that we like to aim for. Perfect. Might be a little bit closer to 1 to 2, but that's perfection to me. So let's go back to Miss Ellie and get her sectioned. Okay, we are back with Miss Ellie over here. Let's talk about our sectioning. We're keeping it very simple, you guys. All we're gonna be doing is taking diagonal back sections. Now, we don't need to do a ton. I want to preserve the negative space so that Ellie has dimension. Once again, we're just refreshing her balayaged ends strategically. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at her hairline. Now, when I'm around the hairline, I like to keep things very fine as far as weaves go. So not necessarily like baby light material, but a little bit more than that. So we're just gonna take something very fine around her hairline to keep it simple, right? And I always think about my girlies that, you know, wear their hair up a lot. I definitely do, so when they pull their hair up, they could see some sun-kissed pops back there with no harsh lines. I take this section, and we're just gonna finely weave, okay? And then I'm going to have some tension. We're gonna be doing some teasy light, guys, so I keep that also very simple. I'm just gonna do 1 stroke, 2 strokes. That's it. We don't need to go really hard with teasing, hurting our client's head. We just keep it very simple. So once again, 1, 2, that's it. And I'm going to take my foil, we'll place it right there. Take a little bit of Blond Studio. I like to start at the mids, and then I like to feather up and to feather down. Once again, keeping things very, very soft. We don't want any harsh lines. We don't want to over process these ends. We just want a nice, beautiful sun-kissed look. So we'll fold that. And on to our next section. With our next section, I am going to go probably about a 1/2 inch up from where we just were at the hairline. And what I'm gonna do instead of taking a slice is I'm going to zigzag. So we're gonna zig-zag for a nice diagonal back parting. And there we go. And what I'm gonna do, continuing going up the head, is I'm going to take this section and I'm gonna start over directing everything towards the face so that when her hair falls down, it's going to look very soft. So between the teasing, the over directing, the feathering, it's just gonna aim for a nice, soft, effortless, lived-in look. Okay, so we have our zigzag, right? And we are going to have that in our weave as well. So I would say a natural weave, but I like to also kind of do a mix of natural weaves with the big ribbons, right? So with this one, we'll keep it simple. We're just gonna do a nice natural weave, right? We're gonna do our teasing. So 1, 2, gonna grab our foil, and then we're going to over direct towards the face. Just like that. I'm gonna take our lightener, once again, go to the mids, and then feather down. Feather down, there's no blonde bits going on her ends, so we're just gonna drag all of that down, and we're gonna feather up. And then we will fold her like so. And we are on to the next one. So I always like to stand back from my clients and just kind of like assess where we're at, right? Seeing what's falling, see how much blonde there is, seeing how much natural's coming through. And that's how I go based off of the next section. So if we take the next section, let's go about like an inch up, right? Let's see where we're at. So we're doing a diagonal back, we're doing our zigzag parting. Okay, once again, there's not a lot of blonde going on. So I think with keeping just the right amount of negative space, that'll be a good section. Okay, so we are back. I think I want to do some bigger weaves on this one, right? We got a lot of negative space to work with. We want some pops of ribbons in there. So let's do a little bit of a bigger one. So natural was below. We have our finer one that was more towards our hairline, but this one is going to give us more of those ribbons. And we are going to tease. So starting at the mids, 1, 2, grab our foil, over direct, and paint. Keeping nice saturation going. Some decent feathering. There's really no pre-lightened ends on this section, so we can just drag it all the way down. And back to our goal, you guys, we are just aiming for like a clean level 9. Level 9, maybe some pops at the end, that could be a level 10, but that is what our goal is. Okay, so let's drop this. And like I said before, I like to just kind of stand back and look what's going on here, seeing how much lighten ends, seeing how much natural's popping through. Honestly, you guys, we could probably get away with just doing probably 2 or 3 more sections, right? Once again, we don't want to over process, we don't want to over lighten, we're keeping this very simple. I'm gonna go about maybe a 1/2 inch. We'll do our zigzag, a diagonal back, and I think that's perfect. So this next one, I like to do more ribbons in the internal part of my client's head. There's more density typically there, so I feel like we can do another deeper weave, more ribbon-like effect on this section, and then going up the rest of her head, we'll keep it more on the finer side, more of a natural weave. So we're gonna take this section and we're gonna do another ribbon. So boom, boom, okay? And then we're gonna have our tension at the mids. We're gonna tease, tease, grab our foil, and then we are going to over direct towards her face. Take the lightener and paint. Now she does have some pre-lightened bits on this one, so I'm just gonna be very strategic with where I paint. We don't want to over process. We do want some pops in there, but I'm just gonna lightly saturate her ends. And then we will fold her up and move to the next section. Okay, so we are going to drop this, assess, see how much more we need. And I think just 2 more sections we can get away with. So I'll probably do another 1/2 inch up the head. We'll do a nice zigzag weave. Clip this out of the way and do more of a nice natural weave on this section. At the top of the head, I like to keep things very soft, baby lights, natural weaves, so this will be perfect. So keeping that tension, tease once, tease twice, take our foil and over direct. Take our lightener, start at the middle, feather down, feather up a little bit. And where I'm placing my lightener, you guys, is I like to take this part and go towards the top of the head. I almost create a nice slant when I'm painting. So this is going higher and I'm kind of going a little bit lower here. And that's pretty much what I've done with every single section so far. So highest point, kind of down at a lower point. Not a drastic line, just once again, keeping things very soft. She does have those pre-lightened ends. We want to keep in mind of those, so we'll keep it very soft with saturation towards her ends. Everything's nice and blendy. And we will fold that one up. All right, we have our last section. So we're gonna take this down. For a lot of my lived-in looks, sometimes I like to leave, instead of foiling on the top all the way to the crown, sometimes I like to leave just a little bit out. Just so when it sits on top, it just still looks very natural. Now it also kind of depends on what's going on with everyone, but since this is already looking so nice and natural, a very soft grow out, once again, we're just refreshing, right? So my next section is just going to be about another 1/2 inch away. We're gonna do a diagonal back, a zigzag, and this will be all left out. So we're just gonna let that be. We're not gonna paint anything, we're just gonna leave it. And we are going to clip that back. We are gonna take this section and we are gonna do another natural weave. Keep it very soft and natural towards the crown. And then we are going to have our tension. We are going to tease once, tease twice. We are going to take our foil and we are going to over direct towards the face again on this last section. Take our lightener, start at the mids. And she does have pre-lightened ends on this one, so we are going to be very strategic again with that. Soft saturation towards the ends, highest point right here, and we're going to go at a very slight slant. Feathering and keeping it nice and soft and effortless. And then we will fold it. And there we are. All right, everyone. So what I'm going to continue doing off camera is the exact same placement on this side of Miss Ellie's head. When it comes to the front, I will essentially be doing the exact same placement as we did at the back of her head. However, when we are around her hairline, just like we were back here, we're gonna be doing some finer weaves. Just like we did at the back, we're gonna be doing at the front. We want a very soft money piece. Not even quite a money piece, just a little bit brighter around the face, right? So once again, I am going to finish foiling Ellie over here and we will process for up to 50 minutes, depending on how she's looking, and then we will check in. All right, everyone, Miss Ellie is all foiled up now. Once again, I did the same placement on the back. Did baby fine weaves around her hairline for that nice brightness around the face. And then just like what we did at the crown and left these bits out, I did the same thing up top here. So we left these bits out just so it stays nice and natural. I'm not mad about how she's grown out already from her previous balayage, so we're just gonna keep that rolling and then just do more of like an internal refresh highlight. Ellie has been cooking for about 35 minutes or so, so she is ready to get rinsed out. What I'm gonna be using to rinse Ellie out is I'm going to shampoo her, staying with the Metal Detox family. The Metal Detox shampoo is a deep cleanser, so it's gonna really make sure all the lightener, all the buildup impurities, anything is out of her hair. Also gonna prevent her color from shifting and also any breakage. So we will shampoo her out with this and I will be right back so that we can start glossing her. All right, everyone, Ellie is all rinsed out and ready to be glossed. So now what we will be using is Dia Light in 10.23. Also using the Dia 6 volume developer. I chose the 10.23 because the 2, which is the violet's just going to soften out any brass essentially. And then I wanted a kiss of gold in there. I wanted Ellie's blonde to look sun-kissed, beachy, and Dia Light is perfect for that. What I love about Dia Light is it uses acidic technology, so it's really nice with smoothing the cuticle, depositing the tone. It's literally like a lip oil for your hair, you guys. It's beautiful. It gives the hair just beautiful shine. It's my favorite thing. So I already have her gloss mixed up and ready to go. I mixed to a 1 to 1.5 ratio. We're gonna apply it to Ellie's hair and we are gonna process from 2 to 20 minutes. It's really all visual, you guys. Basically what I'm looking for is that violet to kind of soften any brass, but still see just the right amount of warmth peeking through. So let's apply this to Ellie's hair and then we will rinse her. All right, we are back. So what I used to shampoo Ellie out was I used the Vitamino color spectrum to really lock in that color. And then topping it off with the Metal Detox family, I used the mask to just give it that yummy nourishment and also prevent any future breakage. Before we start blow drying Miss Ellie, I am going to put the Vitamino Color 10-in-1 Professional Milk in her hair. I love this guy because it is a multitasker. It's detangling, heat protection, and it's gonna do a really good job smoothing out Ellie's hair. So we're gonna use that. And the last thing is the Vitamino Color Spectrum. She is an anti-frizz, she is an anti-humidity, but most of all, this is glass hair in a bottle. So we are gonna give Ellie the most shine. So now I'm going to blow dry and style Miss Ellie. I'm going to choose more of a beachy wave, of course, to fit our Florida beachy sun-kissed look. So I will be back with the final results. And we are back with the final results. Look at Miss Ellie. She looks like she has just spent a day at the beach with her toes in the sand, having the best day ever. She still has really nice soft dimension going. She has those nice pops of blondes throughout her ends, and she's just a little bit brightened up around her face. Nothing crazy, no stripey, no chunky, and it looks like it literally just grew out of her head this way. What I love about this look and this technique, you guys, is it's totally customizable. Like, we did a full head of this, but you could also do a partial with the same sectioning. This is great for your clients that love a lived-in color. They just want to look a little sun-kissed. They don't want any like dramatic change. It's perfection. So to go over everything that we did today, we took a level 7 with a previous balayage and did a full foliage technique for that nice lived-in effortless look. And how we did that was we used Metal Detox to protect the canvas. We used Blond Studio 8 to have that nice controlled lift. And then we used our Dia Light and beautiful 10.23 to refine the tone and give us that nice, beautiful sun-kissed look. My goal as an educator is to simplify modern blonding techniques so that stylists can feel more confident behind the chair, and to think smarter, not harder. Just like the technique that we used on Ellie today, where less was truly more. Thank you so much for learning with me.